Thank you, TMOD Toastmaster Tarani. The problem with me is that I think I am a great poet in Tamil, but nobody else thinks so. I have written so many poems and posted it in Facebook, but I got only one like. That is, of course, my own like. At last, I was able to get one more like. That is from none other than my wife. Don't think that she made that like. I got the password from her and used the password and entered into Facebook on behalf of her and made that like. That's how I got that 2 likes for my poems. There is no mutually supportive environment as in Toastmasters in Facebook. Then I thought, let me address big audience, large audience, by writing poetry in English. I did some research on this. Let me share that experience in learning by doing that research with you all. My dear Toastmasters, guests, let me share the source. I have used 2 sources. The first one is Renner Martin High School Grammar and Composition book. There is a beautiful chapter at the end of that book that is called Appreciation of Poetry. That gave me a very good introduction for writing poetry. The second source is Toastmasters.org. And then the third source is poetryfoundation.org. These are all the sources I used to do some research on writing poetry. Let me share those details with you. First, let me take Renner Martin grammar book. In that chapter, they define the poetry in 2 parts. The body consists of rhymes and rhythms. The soul consists of the emotion and the imagination. Let me give an example for that. You might have read this poetry in your college days or high school days. The poetry is titled Leisure by W.H. Davis. What is this life? If full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as cows. You see, the rhyme is there. That is the stare, care, cow, bow. And then the rhythm is there. What is this life if full of care? And then the soul. We are not getting that leisure time to stare as long as cows. That is a very beautiful example of combination of body and soul in writing a poetry. That is an introduction. Then I got into Toastmaster.org, but as you are Toastmasters, you know better than me. That's why I'm leaving that and going to the poetryfoundation.org. In this website, we are having a lot of articles explaining poetry and giving some examples of modern poetry and traditional poetry. I love that one definition about the rule of the poetry. It says, the rule on writing poetry is, there is no rule at all. What a beautiful definition. You read poetry and then start write poetry out of your own experience. That's it. That's as simple as that. I was very much impressed by that definition and then started reading so many articles there by doing some research on that. There are so many examples relating to modern poetry and traditional poetry. Young poets like me don't try to think about whether I am young or old. I am just explaining the concept. Young poets nowadays, they are impatient to write poetry. They want to get into the soul rather than doing these rhymes and rhythms. There is a beautiful poem by Robert Frost. It goes like this. The title of the poetry is The Song of Trees. the song of trees. Someday, when they are in voice and tossing so as to scare the white clouds over them on, I shall have less to say, but I shall be gone. Here there are no rhymes or rhythms, but see the soul. The trees are tossing their head so as to scare the white clouds above them. What a beautiful emotion and imagination. That is modern poetry. And there is another example relating to traditional poetry. The title is The Man of Double Deeds. It goes like this. There was a man of double deed who sowed his garden full of seed. When the seed began to grow, it was like a garden full of snow. And then the last stanza, when my back began to smart, it was like a penknife in my heart. And when my heart began to bleed, it was death, death, and death indeed. There is rhyme, rhythm. There is rhyme like seed, deed, grow, snow. And then there is the soul, about the life of that gardener. So I have read both the traditional poetry and the modern poetry. With that, I also started writing poetry. Let me share that poetry with you. It is about a favorite subject for you all guys. It starts with L and ends with E. Can you guess? Yes, it is about love. The title is The Trials of Love. Nor does the light or darkness matter. Nor does the light or darkness matter. Days and nights are time that just shatters. Days and nights are time just shatters. Tracing the trial of love that matters. Body to mind, mind to soul. Soul does love the weeps and laughs. That's my poetry. Hope you enjoyed that, right? This poetry came out of my research. And then I have written so many poems. You can go to amazon.in and type Nagendra Bharati. You can read all those poems. So you can go and read all those poems. And I have shared my experience with you, my learning experience in doing this research on writing poetry. I wish you all to become great poets like me. Over to you. Thank you, T.M. Modi.